Good singers sing
sing
flat
flat.
sometimes. Oh my gosh, we're gonna get just ripped apart.
I know, but it was super educational.
Hi, welcome back to our channel. We are Chase and Melia, and today we are finally reacting to Marcelito Pomoy. It's been requested a lot, and we decided to do The Prayer, one of his most popular ones. Before we start, we want to give a shout out to our new patrons, Fuyono and Salvador. Thank you so much for being our patrons. It really helps us make these videos possible.
If you guys would like to join our Patreon page, we will leave the link below, and you can join us over there as well. We're reacting today to The Prayer, and you guys probably know this song. I know this song. Do you know this song?
I think you do.
Yeah, it's a classic. It's a classic, like, pop, classical mix. There's some Italian. There's some really high, nice soprano notes, some nice tenor. It's like a tenor part.
Have we
Or is
sang
it like
it?
baritone?
Did we sing this?
No,
Or did
we sang the other one.
Conte Patiro, I think.
Yeah, that was a bad.
Conte
Exactly.
Patiro.
Which is similar.
It was
It's
like for
also
an 8th grade graduation.
yeah. But what I'm curious is this song is typically a duet. So I'm excited. Like, is he going to sing all of it? Is he just going to sing the Italian, which is typically the male part? Is he going to sing like English
It's a duet.
and Italian? Like, what's going to happen, guys? You all know, probably.
You know,
we're going to find out.
This is actually a good move on whoever hires him. You know, it's 2 singers for the price of one.
Of one.
That
That's
makes
what we
sense.
do.
That
You know,
makes
we
sense.
cut ourselves short sometimes.
We actually give 2 singers for the price of one.
Darn
He's doing it better. He's getting paid
is
2
2
singers.
He's getting...
But he's only 1.
Wow, we should
You know what I'm
change
saying?
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, whoa, hey, before
Whoa.
you start, this is future Chase and Melia. We've already
Yes.
watched it, and we say some things that some people might really not like.
Really not like.
We want you guys to know that just because we say something might be sharp or flat,
Right.
you know, might be a little strained or not, does not mean that Marcelito Pomoy is any less of an amazing singer.
Yes.
The best singers in the world sometimes sing a little flat,
Absolutely.
sometimes work really hard and have tension, and that's just part of being a singer and learning how to
Absolutely.
sing, and yeah.
Yes, we also do our best to clarify when something is just our preference. Like, if there's something that we just like or prefer as singers, we do our best to clarify that, not to say that this is fact or this is good or bad. We don't want to go down that route.
Yeah.
So we hope that you guys still enjoy this video. Please stay till the end. Just watch the whole thing. Just give it a solid shot.
And if you're gonna listen to the things we say that you don't like, try to also listen for the things we say that we do like.
Exactly.
And you do like. Because
There's a lot.
There's a lot to love about Marcelito Pomoy.
Yes.
All right.
Let's get started.
Wish 1075.
I pray you'll be alright.
I didn't see that coming.
I did not see that coming.
And watch us where we go. And help us to be wise in times when we don't know. Let this be our prayer when we lose our way. Lead us to our place, guide us with your grace to a place where we'll be safe.
Okay. I'm going to say something.
Wow.
I'm going to say something. First, let me say something that's positive. I'm going to say he has a beautiful, beautiful voice.
Just a beautiful
gorgeous voice. I did not expect that at all. I really didn't expect that. But can I say something? And I'm going to get attacked. He's super flat.
Really?
Yeah, he's super flat. Like most of the time.
I didn't hear that.
You didn't hear that?
No.
Okay. So I'm talking intonation. I feel that he is flat in intonation. But I think what it is, and we've talked about this a lot of times before, I think it's his vowel. And he is really,
so.
really, like, okay, let's listen.
Not sold. Not sold yet.
This is crazy. Now you're making me
I know.
look bad.
I usually.
You're usually the
do
first
that
to be
stuff.
like,
I was too busy, like, entranced by his beautiful tones.
no, he's incredible. That's why I wanted to say that first. Because first and foremost, it's I can tell that he isn't always flat. Like, I can
Well-
tell that he can sing but it seems undersupported. I'm sorry.
That's something I feel like I did kind of notice was he's kind of sitting on his desk. His shoulders
Which
are
is
forward.
fine. Like we
fine.
see that all the time.
But I don't think so. I think that Morissette is like sitting on the edge of her chair. She's like back. She's got space here.
Yeah.
His shoulders are straight up forward.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like it doesn't look like he. I don't know if he's used to sitting down when he's singing.
Probably not. I also don't think that this is hard for him. So as far as him being flat or out of tune at all, I don't think it's because he is incapable.
It could be any number of reasons.
I think it's because it seems like he's a little bit undersupported, so he could be nervous. And just like you talked about, like posture maybe. But let's listen again. And Chase is going to confirm because he's apparently the all-knowing flat guy. All-knowing intonation man.
If anyone knows about being flat, it's me.
It's Chase.
And watch us where we go.
The where to me.
And help us to be wise.
That was a good example. Hold on.
In times when we don't know.
It's just in times when we don't know.
He's sliding into it though.
No. So I hear him doing it between the two.
You're gonna get us
I'm gonna get us killed.
Oh my god!
But I want to show you
super flat. Super flat.
Okay, maybe not super flat. Maybe not super flat. Maybe like minutely flat, but flat. A little bit, but flat. Audibly flat.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
I think he's doing something where he's sliding into these notes.
Yes.
But it's taking him a long time to do it.
I think it's also his vowel because he has a different resonance. So I'm going to try to find an example. When I pointed out there was a good example, that was a good example of him singing in tune, same notes. So it's not like it's too high or anything like that. It was how his mouth position was much more open. But I feel like these last ones that I feel like have been a little bit under the pitch are a little bit more closed in a way that is not resonant to his voice in this place. So let's listen.
See, I don't know if I agree with that. I think that that was one thing I loved about it. I think that's how he gets his clarity with singing, you know, in his head voice or falsetto, whatever you want to say, is that he's using, you know, he's just speaking. Right. And he's kind of have a small mouth, you know, he's not going, he's not doing a big, huge mouth. Right. And so I think that's those small vowels are giving him a lot of focus.
I understand that. I guess I don't mean closed like that. I mean tongue.
You mean his tongue?
Yeah. Okay. So we've talked about this, like in I think it was the Mama Moo and other one before that, and maybe even Yeba. Yeah. He is not giving himself enough space further back in his throat, and I think that's suppressing the frequencies that can come when you have a more open mouth, like a more open resonator. Ultimately, doesn't mean you have to go like this.
Sure.
But when you have the more open... Yeah. So I'll show you an example and tell me if you think...
I think, though, too, singing... If anyone, you know, lots of people sing in their head voice and sing falsetto, it's hard to tune sometimes. And it's also... It takes so much air to keep that going. Exactly. That, you know, any number of things could be throwing you off. I think it's really interesting. He's so good... I didn't notice he was flat.
Right.
That's
and for
crazy.
me, I think maybe it's also because that's it's like where register. I sing.
Yeah, no, I think so too.
Because there's a lot of times I don't notice stuff too. And ask Chase, I struggle with intonation. It's definitely more than the two of us. I've always struggled with intonation. So maybe that's why I'm sensitive to hearing it as well. So again...
You're kind of always looking for it.
Yeah, and this is not like... This has nothing to do with him being a bad singer. This has nothing to do with him being...
Good singers sing flat sometimes.
And, but I also, that's just what I'm hearing. And if I were, you know... I know this isn't a jury, this isn't like a audition, this isn't one of those things, but we listen as if it was because we want to tell you guys what we hear, and that's just what I noticed. So let's try to compare what I think I'm trying to explain, and then we can move on. Okay?
And watch us where we go.
Okay, the where.
So the where was flat, but...
And help us to be wise.
That is so much more open.
Gorgeous.
And help us to be wise. Small mouth. It's a I. Help us to be wise. But his mouth is open, and it's so resonant and in tune.
Yeah.
But then this next phrase kind of doesn't have that.
He's so relaxed here. I just love it.
In times when we don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Because I don't think it's the slide as much as you say it is.
I think you're right. I think that, like, he's sliding, but it never quite gets there.
And it's like, I think it's also the vowels for those words. So help us to be wise. They're a bit more open. Times when we don't know. They're kind of more nasal. Times. That's hard to sing. Times. You would really have to, like, open your throat. In times when we don't know. But he's doing, in times when we don't know. It's much more through the nose. And I think it's also, but we talk about nasal being good, and nasal is good. I'm seeing it kind of hinder his intonation a few times in here.
Interesting.
What do you think?
So you think it's his resonance?
I think it's his resonance.
Interesting.
Because it's like we've said before, this is like a minute flatness.
I feel like his clarity is, I don't know about, at least in my experience, singing kind of high as a man. I don't know if resonance always does it as much as like my air, and sometimes like singing that mixy falsetto is so easy that it's hard to like get it tuned.
Well, it's kind of like it feels a little bit like chaotic, right?
Yeah.
Like you have like this easy
it's so easy, it's like you have superpowers.
But it's
like,
also
it's like you go to you go to open the door and you rip it off the handles. Like that's how I would describe it.
I imagine like, and maybe this imagery is totally inaccurate, so I'm sorry. Chase will cut it out if it is. I imagine like a balloon when you let it go.
Sure.
That's easy. The air is just letting it go freely, but it's going like this.
Yeah.
If you try to control that balloon.
Sure.
Like control the letting it go.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
So it's literally how we sing is it's a controlled release of air. And that is much more difficult than just letting it go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am actually just in love with
his voice.
His voice.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. And I'm sorry that we started there, but you know what? You can click away now if you want.
Please leave all hate comments for Melia,
At Melia.
exclusively.
Exclusively.
Tell everybody to say Chase is great. Melia's the worst.
Is the worst. Oh my goodness.
Let this be our prayer.
I think prayer is the beginning.
Prayer might be a little bit.
Okay.
When we lose our way.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, to a place where we'll be safe.
So that one is definitely a little bit under.
I knew it.
I pray we'll find your
Singing
love
both.
Nel cuore resterà
in hold within our heart.
a ricordarci che
Stars go out each night.
eterna stella sei.
Oh,
Nelia mia preghiera,
let this be our prayer.
quanta fede c'è.
When shadows fill our day.
Ooh,
Okay.
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 I think he has learned this by ear
Yes.
from Celine.
Yes, he 100%.
Okay.
Yes.
So that also, I think, affects the intonation.
You think so?
I 100%
You think Celine Dion's
so.
flat?
I think that if you try to copy Celine
You
Dion,
think Celine Dion is flat?
I think that if you try to sing Celine's vowels,
No, 100%.
it's real easy to go
100%.
flat.
So I think
So you were saying it was vowels, and I didn't quite
didn't
believe
believe
you.
me.
Yeah.
because they don't seem natural to him singing
Mm-hmm.
in the sense that, like, I mean, obviously natural, unnatural. I'm not talking about language, right? We're not talking about like him speaking English or anything like that. I'm talking about like the placement of his voice. We all have different instruments. Like our mouths are literally different. The way we say things are different. What would work for us is different. And so copying Celine, who was a woman, soprano, French-speaking person, isn't going to work for everyone. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not going to... We talk about her vowels being super efficient and amazing and what we love about them, but we don't say, just go emulate all of her vowels and totally, like, replicate everything she does.
And that's I think, the... one of the drawbacks to copying your favorite singers or trying to sound like your favorite singers. I made a video a while back about how I used to try to sing like Michael Bublé, and I'm only ever going to be the Wish.com version of Michael Bublé. So, you know, Celine Dion does the vowels that work for Celine Dion.
Yes.
And you should just focus on the vowels that work for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? He sounds just freaking beautiful. Mm-hmm. And it's really amazing because, like, in school I was told that often baritone or like those lower kind of chesty voices have that really beautiful falsetto, and me being a tenor and thinking I sing the highest and nobody else sings higher than me, you know, always had a problem with that. But this is a case in point.
So I think that's also what's cool to know is that this type of like voice style is super common. Like it is common to have the lower range very nicely.
Baritone,
exactly, along with the higher like soprano. What is that called? I don't want to say falsetto, but like it's like a countertenor almost, right?
Sure, yeah.
Like what is the difference exactly?
I think my definition is that a countertenor is somebody who's just specializing in using their falsetto.
Gotcha.
And
but they most likely also have that baritone range.
Yes.
As far as like the instrument goes.
Naturally,
gotcha.
as the
That
instrument
makes sense
goes.
to me.
You know, but a lot of people are going to have an issue with like, no, that's just his full voice. So we've said this in other videos, but falsetto is just the very edges of your folds. Mm-hmm. But if you blow enough air, if you're using enough air, it will bring your full fold to resonate, to phonate.
Yeah.
So, you know, it sounds like he's using lots of air.
Oh, yeah.
And has a very full sound. You know, if I sing falsetto, lead us to our prayer, right? It's not that same full sound that he has.
He spent time working on it.
He spent a lot of time working on it. And, you know, he's doing it in a way that I think brings in the full fold.
For sure.
It's called a Bernoulli effect. Look it up.
It's like
pretty cool.
airplanes.
That's how airplanes fly.
Wow. We're like pilots.
We're basically
vocal pilots basically. We're basically pilots.
We're basically pilots.
Okay, let's talk about his like baritone range.
I have to hear it more.
Let's keep going then.
Okay, so this is something that I struggle with as just watching a performance. When I watch somebody do both voices, I feel like I miss out on things like harmony.
I agree.
I miss out on watching a singer just kind of do their thing. He's having to play two characters on the spot, which is cool. But like if you ever watched, you know, somebody do a play or something and they have to play two characters, sometimes it kind of loses a little bit of its depth. Mm-hmm. But you know, I don't know. I think I would listen to him sing in his higher voice all day, every day.
See, I don't disagree with that as like you can have your opinion. But I feel differently. I so much prefer his lower voice. Baritone? And I said the exact same thing with Dimash. Like when Dimash does, because he does a very similar thing where he sings all over, you know, the map, the range. Yeah. And I prefer his lower voice. And that's just a preference. That's literally just me saying, you know what? I think that this voice is much more pleasing to my ear, or not this voice, it's not two separate voices, but I think that when he sings in this range, I think it sounds better to me. There's just a fullness, but I think again it's also probably because I sing up there.
Sure.
And so when I sing up there, I want to hear very specific things, or when I listen to somebody that's singing up there. Let's talk about our opinions on doing a duet by yourself.
I don't want to.
As an artist choice. It reminds me of in college, let's go to story time. In college, we were doing opera scenes. We were doing Falstaff, and there is a duet. And Chase couldn't show up to rehearsal. He was busy, being a young 21-year-old, having fun.
I was
And
off that day.
I had to sing his part, and so I remember they were laughing at me at the rehearsal because I was literally like this, where I was singing your part and my part.
Well, and I did the same thing with
When you did the other scenes.
when I did Mozart, the opening scene from Die Zauberflöte, which is like three witches and me, and Tamino, a tenor. And whenever any of the witches were gone, I would sing
You
their
would
part.
sing their part, yeah.
And people would laugh. It was funny.
So to me, this feels like a party trick. And it's it's like something that you see on like X Factor or America's Got Talent, because it does require some skill. But I guess for me, musically, there's not a lot of practicality for it.
I think it requires a lot of skill.
Yes, I'm sorry.
But that's
a lot of skill.
That's like what I kind of was saying before, where
Exactly.
if I were to if it were my wishes,
Right.
I would have him sing with somebody,
Right. Me
Because
too.
I want to hear him, focus on one thing and not like have to switch back and forth and like put on a hat and take off a hat.
Yeah.
Because that's what I mean. It's like when you do two characters,
Exactly.
You never really do either one.
Right. No, absolutely. So again, all of that is just our opinion.
Especially when
And
the
preference.
baritone voice is so much more classical.
So
and
much
then
more.
and then the switch to the soprano is like
Contemporary.
this is super poppy.
Which is it's how it is. That's how the song is written.
Yeah.
Because I think the song was written for Andrea Bocelli and Celine Dion.
Oh, wow.
Correct me if I'm wrong. But just look at who they are. So Celine
Sure.
Dion is a pop singer. That is what she does. She sings
Yeah.
higher, but she is a pop singer. And then Andrea Bocelli is obviously a classical, more poppy, classical guy. So like it's designed for two completely different types of singing.
Yeah.
So even just in a vocal philosophy, I wouldn't recommend doing that. I wouldn't recommend doing those two things.
And that's what I mean from a performance standard.
Exactly.
From a performance place, I would prefer duets to be sung by two people.
Right.
But
let's continue to watch him
yeah,
because
he
is
sounds
wonderful.
fabulous.
Yes.
I'm serious. I
would listen to
love his upper voice, his high voice.
Yeah.
Because it just sounds so full and and free and
Right.
really easy.
Natural.
So
totally.
natural.
Yeah.
It's just gorgeous.
Totally.
Makes me melt.
Lead us to a place,
Guide us with your grace.
give us faith so we'll be saved. Sogniamo un mondo senza più violenza, e un mondo di giustizia, di speranza. Ognuno di la mano a sua vicina, simbolo di pace, di fraternità. La forza che ci dai.
Okay. Wow. I did not think he was going to get up that high.
Yeah.
Do you notice how much harder he has to work when he's singing down there?
Yeah.
Because what I'm hearing is that voice that he's making is a lot more held. It's a lot more, he's intentionally not mixing.
Okay.
Because I think he's trying to either separate the characters
Right,
or
right,
that's
right.
just how he sings
He
this
sings in
voice
that way,
versus
yeah.
singing that voice. That's a little bit of a push. You know,
Okay.
that's something that I really worked on in the classical world when we
Yeah.
were doing all that. I would push really hard because that's what I kind of thought opera singers did. And it just, it doesn't quite help. But I think I can't tell, I don't
Yeah.
know him very well.
Right.
And so I can't tell if he's purposefully not mixing because he wants to keep those voices like as far apart as possible. But he's obviously got the notes.
Yeah.
Right. And so this is
Kind of all the way through.
this is actually a really good example of why I don't say, okay, this is head voice, this is chest voice. Because if I tell my student, okay, try that in your chest voice, they're going to bring their chest voice up and try to, right? Instead, have a mix. Oh, where you have all of it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Where does it fit there?
Where does it fit?
Yeah.
And so letting your voice kind of decide where stuff fits
Right.
rather than I'm going to stick it in my head voice, I'm going to stick
Right.
it in my chest voice, I'm going to keep it there.
Right.
You know, that's just my opinion. But it's, you know, this is why I think I prefer his higher voice
It
because
sounds much more-
to me it just sounds so effortless for
Right.
him. And that one kind of sounded really difficult.
I do want to rewind and watch that one last phrase for two reasons. I was pretty impressed with that last note. I was pretty impressed with it. I thought it had some really full resonance.
I was so surprised when he got up there.
And then I also want to talk about how he does this switch because it's like, I don't even know if he takes a
Unreal.
breath. I don't
Yeah.
know if he does. We're going to just watch real quick.
Di fraternità, la forza che ci dai
We ask that life be kind
ed essere ocean
in waters from above.
ognuno trovi amore
We hope it's so we'll find
intorno e dentro sé.
another soul to love.
Let this be our prayer,
Let this be our prayer,
just like every child.
just like every child.
I agree with you. I've changed my opinion.
Yeah.
I like his
Well-
higher voice better.
Him switching like this is absolutely unreal.
It's insane.
It's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
You know, have anybody else ever tried to switch
Right.
like that between registers in your own voice?
He's doing it very seamlessly too.
Within a breath,
Yeah.
within a quick breath, he can switch.
Yeah.
That is absolutely unbelievable.
It is very, very impressive what
Yeah.
he's doing. Yes.
Yeah. One thing, I don't know how much classical music he sings, but when a lot of people try to sing a classical song, they try to put on a sound. And, you know, he's playing, like we've said this a bunch of times, he's playing
a
two
role.
characters.
Yeah,
he's
right,
playing a
right.
role. So maybe this is the sound that he's going for. But, you know, if anybody out there is
Yeah.
interested in classical music, I would say, you know, watch out for trying to make I'm now singing opera,
Yeah.
right? You don't have to do that.
Right.
The vowels don't have to be far back. In fact, they probably shouldn't be.
Yeah.
For example, the line La forza che ci dia. La forza che ci dia. Instead of La forza che ci dia, right?
It even sounds so much lower.
One of them,
than
and
it
one of them
is.
sounds more opera-y, right? One of them sounds more opera-y,
Yeah.
but if you ever watched a real opera, like they are not singing. Oh,
I mean, some of them are.
Some of them are, I guess. I don't
that's-
know, but you don't have to. What my point is, if you want to sing in a classical style,
Yeah.
you don't have to just stick things in the
Swallow.
back. La forza che ci dia is so much easier and fuller sounding than La forza che ci dia, right?
Is that a different octave?
Nope.
Are you sure?
It's the same note.
La
Love. Which one do you want me to do?
Both. Switch in
Okay.
between each
Okay.
note.
This is a fun
No,
experiment
just
because of how we perceive sound, right? If something sounds, when he sings the higher parts that I was saying sounded difficult, it sounds like it's really high. But if I were to sing it, it's actually not that
sound like
high,
it's that
right?
high.
It's not actually that high in terms
Yeah.
of the male range and stuff like that. Anyway, so I'm going to sing it two different ways, and one of them's going to sound crazy low, and one of them's going to not sound low. So I'll do the low one first. La forza che ci dia versus La forza che ci dia.
They're totally different octaves. Like 100%. It's a trick,
You know
people.
what?
He's tricking you.
You need to get your ears checked.
Wow.
She said he was flat. I didn't say that. You know,
That does
He's-
sound totally different.
Isn't that crazy? Well, you know,
blown
but that's
away.
resonance for you. That's
Yeah.
overtones.
But that's
So
also what we're talking about.
What overtones are being
Heard.
accentuated
Yeah.
and
Right,
heard?
right.
You know?
Wow. Isn't the voice interesting? I
is
feel
cool.
like I'm on PBS, like Okay, guys, did you learn something today?
For those of you who don't know, PBS is like a public broadcasting TV network that shows like
Educational
content,
entertainment content
in the U.S.
Maybe one day we'll have our own special.
That's right.
Need to find a place, guide us with your grace, give us faith so we'll be saved. Il a fait que I just saw it all. Sento che ci salva.
So different.
Wish exclusive on Wish 1075.
Oh, he had to yawn. That happens a lot. If you're trying to create space and like have a
You
lot of
have the
space,
most.
you'll yawn a bunch
You'll have
and
to yawn.
stuff.
That used to have to be my voice lessons, yawning and burping.
If Marcelito
Sorry.
Pomoy put out a Celine Dion cover album,
Oh my God.
I would buy it.
Yeah,
I'd
he
buy
probably
it.
has.
I'd buy it sooner than I would buy a Celine Dion cover or
Oh,
just a
Celine
Celine
Dion
Dion
album.
album.
Well,
Not that I
that's-
don't love Celine
That's
Dion.
not very nice.
Not that I don't
Chase.
love Celine Dion, but
Let's look.
oh my gosh, that guy's voice just makes me.
He has a whole album called Duet Yourself. This is what he does. Wow. Well, look at us, guys. We didn't know that. Well, we learned a ton in this video. We learned that
I need to go buy a Marcelito Pomoy album.
absolutely,
Yep.
and that we need to up our game and duet ourselves.
I don't think I can do that.
I don't
I'm
think
not.
so
I'm just
either.
not very good.
You know
at
what?
that.
Luckily, there's two of us, so we don't ever have to.
Oh,
we
boom.
can just be a duet.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
That's true.
So we hope that you guys learned something from this video as well. We hope that you enjoyed watching us react to Marcelito Pomoy. This was our first time ever hearing him, so that was a pretty awesome first impression, first encounter. If you guys did enjoy this video, please be sure to leave us a like down below or a comment. Let us know what you guys thought. And if you are new, hit that subscribe button because we make videos like this every single week. We are Chase and Melia, and we will see you next time.